There's a great example of a green spore right there. Yum, 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 yum. Now the tiger barbs are a lot of fun to feed. So they suck the water in with the food and that's what gets it into their bellies. Under carpet, oh look at that little school of cories. I'm just about to feed you guys, come out. Oh, there we go, there's the female. Look at the colours on her. He's just made a little bubble nest at the top, which is awesome. These fish are brilliant, they absolutely know me, they love me. There we go, look at that, one of the beautiful plecos has come out. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty amazing, doesn't it? Oh, don't you bite me, don't you bite me. The electric blue acara is we've got something that has been an absolute massive success, and that is this here, the shrimp mountain. What is going on, beautiful people? It's been a long time since I showed you like everything in the studio, and I thought I'd tie that in nicely to feeding all of the fish as well. We've got loads of different kinds of fish dotted about now, so it should be a really interesting video. So we're gonna start off with this tank first. This is my rare fish aquarium. Now, when I first got it, it was full of very rare fish. Well, not very rare fish to everyone, pretty much just to me and my local fish store. They just got some in that I'd never seen before. So we have the green respores, which aren't, you know, that common. Green respores, where are you? There's a great example of a green respore right there. And then we've got these sort of rainbows as well, like a nano rainbow. I forget the exact name. Illuminated, I think they are illuminated rainbow fish. We've now got some Apistogramma hong schloi in there as well, which not mega rare, but I've had them over from another tank. We've got koi guppies as well. We've got albino cherry barbs. Again, not one you see all that common, is it really? So overall, I think there's a good mix of rarer fish in here. We've got celestial peldanios as well, which again, to a lot of people aren't that rare, but they were in my fish shop. Anyway, over the top here, look, you can see the floating plants. We've got red root floaters, and there's a lot of duckweed dotted about as well. It's growing really nicely at the moment, if that can be said for duckweed. Can it grow nicely? I mean, it just takes over, doesn't it? But it's okay, I've just scooped a load out of these patches, and that's why we can now see right into the tank. It's a really cool sort of underwater vibe here, isn't it? Looks so good. Let's get some food in. And that actually leads me on nicely to today's video sponsor, which is Aquarian and API. Seeing as we're doing a feeding right now, these are Aquarian products that I've got right here. This is the tropical flake that I use for all of my tanks. Then we've got like algae wafers and things like that, really good for plecos and things. Shrimps do really well this as well. Then we've got my absolute favorite, which is their sinking pellets for the cories. I mean, all other fish can eat them as well, but mainly they go down, they sink down quite nice and quickly. They're a bit more dense, and then all the cories, you can make sure that they get their feed, and that's why I really like that, because, you know, anything will eat a flake, but cories, if they're not quick enough, they're gonna miss it, aren't they? But these sink right down really good. So this right here is basically my armory when it comes to all things fish related. So we've got the Aquarian fish flake, you can see the texture of it there. It's nice and crumbly and breaks really easy. We've got the algae wafer, which is pretty much just the right size, but if you want to break it up smaller, you can. And then we've got the sinking pellet, which again, I think is just the right size for a complete range of fish. And then many of you who watch my channel will already know, but for those that don't, AccuClear, water clear in no time at all. CO2 booster is absolutely perfect, just getting any algae off. You can spot treat, you can dose the water column. It's so good for that. Aqua Essential for getting your water absolutely pure from tap water, taking out the chloramines, the heavy metals, all that kind of thing. Quick Start is the cheat code to starting a tank, I think so anyway. I always use this when starting new tanks with you know, fish in cycling and things like that. You can add your fish basically straight away, as long as you don't massively overload the system, of course. You know, you've got to be reasonable. Then Leaf Zone, every time I do a water change or a water top up, and that keeps all of the plants looking absolutely fresh and amazing. And that's not me even trying to sell any of this stuff to you, because you know I use it. I've been using it for years now, and it is so good. But first up, we're gonna put in the flake. It's got 5 different colours on it. It keeps fish active, bright and healthy. It's high in vitamin C and E, and it helps support optimal growth. Of course, and look at them all flocking over because they know exactly what's going on. Here you go, little fellas. Some flake. What I like about it is that you can just chuck it into this in big bits, and also you can sprinkle it as well, so then you get the finer stuff. There you go, just like that. So you've got stuff that's going to be floating on the surface, which is perfect. The top, you know, the fish that swim in the top part of the water, they'll stay up there and peck at it, and as they do that, smaller bits come falling down, and that's absolutely perfect then. I haven't put a huge amount in there, to be honest, because there are a fair amount of fish in this tank. Have the cories come forward yet? We've got some gold laser cories. There's one now, did you see it? There you go, look at that beauty. Obviously he's gonna need some cory food, isn't he? Okay, sinking pellets as well. What I like to do is layer them all in the front like this, and then as they all fall down, everyone can like come to the front and I get to see them more. It's a really good way as well of checking up on your fish and making sure they're all healthy and good. Feeding time is the time for that, isn't it? That's why I always keep the food to the front of the tank. There we go, look, Gold Azakori. That's one of the female Apistogramma Hongshloi there. And then there's another male Apistogramma, I think, just behind it. So Apistogrammas are dotted around everywhere. I put a load of babies in here, you see. Got another baby, well, they're not baby, that's a male that's beginning to get its coloration, more like a dominant male. And again, over on this side here as well. They're all just sort of freaked out by me coming too close to the tank though. But yeah, great looking tank, great bunch of fish as well. Cherry barbs, the albino cherry barbs, just look at them. They just glow, don't they? Fantastic. Next up is the tiger barb tank, which currently is way too dark because of the pure amount of floating plants that we've got up here, look. So it's not that dark, but once the camera adjusts, yeah, that's probably about right, just like that. The tiger barbs, they're getting bigger, much bigger, so that's a testament to the flake food, isn't it? That's all I feed this tank, just the flake food. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, I'll plonk that down. Actually, that's probably not the best place to put that, is it? Now, the tiger barbs are a lot of fun to feed. They're like quite ferocious. They sort of really do go for it. If I just put some here, look. Go on, there you go. Once they sense it, they proper nip at it as well. And you can hear them jumping up at the top of the water. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there we go. Just look at them. So they've got like a really aggressive sort of attacky way of getting the food. Like, they're quite quick, tiger barbs, and they all do their own thing as well, which is quite cool. They act as a school, but each one like kind of has its own individual direction. Not like if you see a school of rummy-nosed tetra, they just all go together, whereas these guys they're more like a hive of activity. It's quite hard to explain. I mean, at the moment they're doing completely what they want. They're just trying to get all the food, but you see what I mean? They're all just all over the place. Quite a chaotic fish, but a very nice and awesome fish nonetheless. I've got a school of 10 in here because it's a smaller tank, so I was just sort of growing them out. But eventually I'd like to get more, if I'm honest. I'd like to have them in a bigger tank, a bigger school of them as well. And not to forget, guys, if you are enjoying this content, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. Hit the notification bell as well, and then you'll be informed of anything like this when it happens again, and you can enjoy that as well. Moving along next and down here, this is a no filter tank that's home to this Dumbo Betta. You're going to come forward? He knows what's going on. He knows there's food coming. There we go. So for him, I'll just take like a tiny little pinch and I just put it near the surface here, and usually he'll just come and find it. Usually. Oh, he's being distracted. Come round. Come on. Go. Go. It's food. You know it's food. There's a lot of it. Look, it's waiting for it to fall down, and then he's eating it when it goes right near something. Just eat it at the top. Oh, you can see here the water level's quite low. That's just because obviously it's a Betta fish, and I'll make sure it doesn't jump out. Usually it does eat near the surface quite jumpily, but for some reason we're now waiting for all the food to hit the bottom first. Yeah, fair enough. Oh my good. Now you're going up. Okay, cool. Look at how white he is. There we go. Good boy. And then next to this tank, we have got another no filter. This is just a bowl aquarium with plants and gravel and stuff like that. It's being lit by this light at the top, so it's kind of more like an ambient lighting. And this is home to a load of cherry shrimp. Can we see any? There's one on there, just in the centre of the screen now. And there's quite a few in there actually. There's snails as well. So a really good one for this is the algae wafer. I'm just going to go with the one. I'm going to break it in half. And again, just putting them near the front. These sink as well, which is perfect. It's obviously, that's what we want. And then if we put them to the front of that, we can see the shrimp coming forward. We can count our numbers and that kind of thing. This bowl's quite new established. There's not going to be tons of babies and things like that yet. So it's been a few minutes. We've already got a ton of shrimp appearing all around the area that the wafer's landed. There's two on there already. There's some to the side. There's one there. There's one just trying to find, look, that one right in the middle there. You can sense something's going on, but where is it? Just keep walking, my friend. And then the other bit landed here, a very bright cherry shrimp on that one. That's definitely a female, I reckon. Hopefully we're going to get a load of babies in this soon as well. And then up next is the Rainbowfish aquarium. Now this is quite newly set up. It's like 13, 14 days old, something like that. And it's really, really doing well actually. I've had a great start to it. The dwarf sage down here is starting to carpet. Oh, look at that little school of cories. I'm just about to feed you guys, come out. Yeah, anyway, let's give these guys some food. They know what's happening. It's almost like they can see out of the tank and they can see the pot. Now rainbowfish are fast eaters and they'll be all over this. Just sprinkle it down, let them do their thing. Yeah, they're already going at it. What I like to do is also place some in this flow as well, so it just flicks it around everywhere, as well as some on the top so it falls down, so it sort of floods the whole system. So the reason I recently changed the tank up was because these guys are getting much bigger, especially the sunset rainbows that you can see. There we go, these guys in the middle here now, got some good colour at this time of the day, but nothing like the amount when I first come in. Like, they're bright orange and red. But at this time of day, yeah, they just fade out. The weird thing of rainbows, always colourful in the mornings for some reason, but this tank is going to progress so well. All this dwarf sage is going to go all over the base there, so it'll be like a massive green. And then I've got colour pops coming here, there and everywhere with, you know, Ludwigia and things like that. Anyway, we can't forget the Cories, can we? Come on then, Cories, it's your turn. There we go. Look at that. Straight away, even with this massive flow we've got in this tank, it still sinks straight to the bottom. That's where I want it. And the reason we've got high flow is, of course, the Cories love it. It's only in this top sort of stream area, and as you come down, you can see like the plants aren't even being pushed around. Oh, the first Cory on the scene. You get pick of the first pellets. So we have also got one bristlenose pleco in the tank, but the tank's currently going through a diatom phase. Well, you wouldn't know it because it's currently cleaning everything. So I'll leave that for another week before I specifically put the food in for the bristlenose, because it would have cleaned everything up by then. It's getting there. There's still a few areas that I think could do with a little bit of a clean up, and that bristlenose, just that one as well, will find those in there and just keep it, you know, pristine and looking great. It's almost like one bristlenose in a tank this size just sort of keeps on top of it and works really well. That's what I found anyway. So next up we have got Timmy's the tank, which is behind my desk currently, so I need to move that, which I can because it's all on wheels. So here is Timmy's tank, and here's the man himself. So I like to keep Timmy's tank in like a swampy sort of style, so there's murky and dark areas for him to sort of go into. He can come out when he wants to and say hello, like now, because he knows food is coming. And then he can go up on the top section here as well, so he can climb up that back area, and that's sort of right underneath this light, which is for basking, which is UVA, UVB, so it's heat, and it's got like UV as well for the turtle shell, because they need that. This is where he likes to perch sometimes, and when I'm like doing all my work and stuff in front of the computers, I just keep hearing him splash, splash. He like treats this as a diving board. He won't now because he wants to be fed. Now he has got these golden white cloud mountain minnows in with him, so I feed them some with a flake. Flaky, flaky, flaky. And then Timmy gets some of these dried shrimp and also some reptile pellet as well, which I just stick up the top, and eventually he will see them up there when I stop standing in front shaking something around. I break the shrimp up as well because he's only little, bless him. There we go. Yum, 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 yum. See? So like little pieces like that. He takes them under the water, and turtles require water to swallow their food, so they don't have tongues, so they suck the water in with the food, and that's what gets it into their bellies. So cool, isn't he? Yeah, so this is kind of one of those tanks that always looks a little bit sort of scraggly, but that does sort of much more simulate the environment that the musk turtle. Timmy's a musk turtle, and that's what they're used to. So yeah, I keep it like that. It's fresh though, looks good. There is actually some otocinclus in here as well. Oh, there we go, there's one. So they keep the place free from diatoms and other pieces of algae. I don't need to specifically feed them in this one because turtles are dirty creatures. They create a lot of waste, and it just seems to be that creates quite a bit of algae as well. And the bristlenoses go around and they clean all that up. So next up right here, which is next to Timmy's tank, is one I did a while ago. It's supposed to be like kind of like a reef. It's gone a bit nuts. Needs to be hacked about there. But anyway, this is the home to Apistogramma hongschloi. There is a male. The female's in there as well. We've got a few Cories dotted about. There's an bristlenose pleco there as well. Oh, this glass is dirty, isn't it? Anyway, the Apistogramma in here are the parents of all the babies that you saw over in this tank. So yeah, it's quite cool to be able to actually have the babies from those guys and then have them in another tank thriving as well. So it's just awesome, just completes the cycle, doesn't it? Oh, there we go, there's the female. Look at the colours on her. Beautiful. And she's made all those beautiful babies over in the other tank as well. Congratulations to you. She's like, just feed me, shut up and feed me, okay? So yeah, same thing again on this one. The flake, I leave this right at the top, makes its way down. There we go, straight away it's already moving. Here's the male look. And then we've got some of the Cory pellets as well, which will hopefully bring them forward. Not too many in this one because there's not that many Cories. Oh, they're coming down the corner now. Yeah, there we go. They sensed that that flake was in there. They knew it was feeding time, so they're coming forward. There is more than that. I think there's about 5 because I transferred another 5 across to another tank. So I did have 10 originally. And then, of course, a little algae wafer for the bristlenose pleco as well, who is now hiding. Yeah, we've got a nice little internal filter that's just pushing it all around in a circle. All the fish coming forward now. Everyone's getting a munch. Awesome. And then next to that tank, we've got some very patiently waiting angelfish, but not just angelfish. There is a ton of Cories down the bottom. We've got a load of other fish as well, tetras. So we've got the cardinal tetras, we've got the rummy nose tetras. There's a lot going on in this tank. We've also, oh look at that stir-by. Sorry, I always do this, always zoom in. You get your food in a second. We've also got 2 Bolivian rams as well, which come from my home tank, which very recently just, the sealant gave out after like 14 years and decided to flood the whole living room, and that's fine. I had 14 years of good use out of it. This tank does need a little bit of a trim up, I would say. But it's doing good. It's very, very sort of autopilot now, so it's just doing its own thing. I don't have to do a thing at all to it. Fish are really healthy as well. Oh, I feel sorry for them. I need to get some food in. And you know the drill now, guys. Lots of flake for this one. Again, all the angels will peck at it, and that means that the smaller pieces then fall down for all of the other fish. And all the Cories are patiently waiting. So again, there's a lot of Cories, so it's a good amount of food. How often am I feeding this food? I like to feed every other day. It keeps them nice and hungry. It means that any scrap and waste is all taken care of by the whole sort of ecosystem of the tank as well. See, that is a lot going in there. So even though at the moment at the bottom it looks like there's a lot going on, within minutes it's going to be crazy in here. I'm not even kidding you. Watch this. And then 2 minutes later, look, the gold Cories, of the gold laser Cories, they've come to the foreground, and then we've got the traditional sort of style bronze Cories. All of those were bred. The little ones you can see were bred from those larger ones. Not in this tank, in a previous tank. And then further back, we've got albino Corridors. Oh, there's so many different kinds in here. Oh, down here, there's another one of the stir-bys, is it? Or is that the... No, that's a different... I can't remember what that one was called. What was that one called? I'm sure you guys have mentioned it in the comments. There's another one there as well. But there are a couple of stir-by in here. Stir-by my favourite if you haven't picked up on already. So we've got 8 angels in here, all doing really good. They're growing, putting on size. I got them when they're tiny, tiny diddy, and they are still pretty small to be fair, but they were like much smaller a few months back. They're eating well, they're coming up with some kind of hierarchy, and they've got really good balance now as well, so that is going brilliantly. Overall, this tank has actually progressed a lot better than when I first set it up. When I first set it up, I wasn't actually happy, but I was like, look, give it time, and I am much more happy with it nowadays. I painted the background white, and it sort of stopped any depth perception in the tank and made it look kind of flat back there, whereas if you have it a little bit open, it can look like it goes on forever. But you know, you live and learn. I won't be doing that again, but all the plants are doing well and all the fish are doing well, and that's the main thing. I'm really enjoying it. So going from the angelfish tank comes across to the African river tank, also known as the Congo tank, because we've got Congo tetra in here. We've got a load of females and males, so you can really see the difference with these kinds. You know, there's a female there right in the middle, and right next to it is the male. Very obvious to have a difference. Well, actually, that's a crebensis as well, which was a diddy baby. It's now getting as big as the Congo tetra, which is cool. Let's get a bustle of activity going in here and get some food in. So this tank will actually need everything because it's got all the kinds of fish. But first of all, the flake. Congo tetras are probably the best to feed in all of this room. In the other room, we've got some crazy fish as well, which I'll get to in a minute. If you notice, I've always got smallish fish. I don't really go for big fish. And I like to put in a little sprinkle of sinking pellets as well for any fish that are too scared to come near the surface, because the Congo tetras are quite boisterous, you know. And there's also quite a few bristlenose plecos in here as well. So I'm going to stick one there, a tablet over there, and then one down the back as well. I always put, because it's like a big area back there where some of them like to hide out. But I think you guys can all see with this one how well established it is. It looks so good, doesn't it? I will be breaking it down at some point. It's time to move on to another one. I'm going to be doing an Indian themed tank in this one, so it should look so good. This one's been up and running now for a long time. A long time for me anyway. Some people like to keep their tanks going for years and years. I'm not one of those people. Java fern's looking fantastic though. In this whole area is where most of the cribs like to hang out. Look at that male crebensis there. there, just picking off all that food. All of these babies you can see around are his babies. Sadly, we lost a female a long time ago, but we've got more mature ones growing up now. But they've all done really, really well in this area. There's so many places for them to go in and out of, you see, isn't there? So it's just it's quite a cool tank. This very natural looking, very full as well. So, like, it does need a little bit of a trim back of some of these plants, but I did do a big trim back recently because there was so much in here, and that's actually, believe it or not, quite open now in comparison to what it was. So moving along, next to the tank is the newest addition to the studio, and it's this one here. So this, let me turn that down slightly. This is a new ecosystem aquarium. There's absolutely no filter in this tank at all. All there is this really cheap LED light. That's it. And the fish, obviously, and the plants, well, and the substrate system. What's quite good as well is our Betta fish in here, which is just hidden. He'll come out in a minute. He's just made a little bubble nest at the top, which is awesome. Means that he's obviously really comfortable with his surroundings, right at the front as well, which seems a little odd, but you know, that's where you want it, that's where you want it. So this is getting on for a week old now. All the plants are really settling in. They're already growing, to be honest. The pearl weed is already probably added another inch to the lot. At some point in the near future, I'm going to be trimming everything back and replanting just so we can get really thick growth everywhere. Went for just a couple of pieces of hardscape in this one, and we've got a bunch of ricefish. I did put in some shrimp in there, but I did notice that the Betta fish's poop was quite red, so I don't think there are any cherry shrimp left. Oh, here is the Betta fish now. Come out in the open, buddy. Really nice looking fish. For some reason, he'd been at the shop for quite a while, and I thought he was the best one there, to be honest, so I picked him. There we go, here he comes. Let's get some food in for him. He seems to know me already. He's like not considered a threat, and he realises that I'm the one who puts the food in. Don't need a lot of food for this one. There's not a lot of fish. So the rice fish are tiny, and Betta fish don't eat a huge amount either. Yeah, so just gone for a little bit of a flake, and then that's it. There's nothing else needed, especially as I don't think there's any cherries in there anymore. Otherwise, I'll put a little algae wafer in. We do have a couple of neurite snails, but they'll just like feast on all the diatoms and algae and anything that would come on the rocks and the side glass panels as well. But we're looking so good at the moment. I've been keeping up on the water changes, and that's kept everything perfect so far in this tank. Oh, hang on. I've just spotted one cherry shrimp just in that middle patch there, patch of green right in the centre. So maybe there are more, maybe they're hiding, that's all. But yeah, I did put 10 in, and that's the only one I'm currently seeing. Who knows? And then moving on next, we've got the neon tetra tank. I've had this for a while now. These fish are brilliant. They absolutely know me. They love me. They'll be getting some flake, obviously. We've got Otto Cinclus in as well, and we've got some Amano shrimp, so we'll put the algae wafer in too. Sprinkle, sprinkle, and an algae wafer. Split it in half. On that side, one that side. So we've got really, really good growth on this tank. We've got a nice patch of moss in this corner which is trying to migrate across, which I will clear out because it's blocking out all the Blixa japonica, which is growing so nicely. We've got Crips, we've got S. repens, a nice fern, then all of our stems sort of looping over from the back. Yeah, I really like this tank. It's very simple, mostly green. Look, there's a little hint of some sort of yellows and oranges peeking through from the rotale at the back. But overall, nice, simple, easy to maintain as well. I don't have to trim this very often. I think the last maintenance I did on this was about a month ago, to be honest. All I've been doing is just topping the water up, as with all of my tanks. But they are really, really nice neons. I've had these for a couple of years now, I reckon. About a year and a half. I'm going to go a year and a half. And they're all so healthy, fully grown, obviously. I'd like to see some breeding, but I don't think there's much chances of it in this type of tank. But, you know, who knows? It's quite like sort of thick, isn't it, and dense, so babies could quite easily survive if they stayed down in these bottom areas. Who knows, maybe one day. So that is the tour of this room complete, but I've actually got another studio which is basically about the same size across that way. So yeah, welcome to Studio 2. I think we'll start with this awesome tank you can see behind me. This is my Amazon River Aquarium. Electric blue Aquaria tetra. Oh, it's so cool. So here we are. Look, this is looking so good. I mean, the plants have gone crazy. This is 3 months old now. It wasn't anything near as dense as this, obviously, when I planted it. It will need to trim up shortly, though, especially this Ludwigia. Look, it's just gone all the way across like this. What I'll do is I'll give it a snip somewhere down there and just push it into that lot. The roots will find their way down to the substrate, but it's quite nice just having it here. I mean, it looks pretty amazing, doesn't it? Oh, don't you bite me. Don't you bite me. The electric blue aquariums, they're poised and ready to go. We've got a beautiful golden ram there as well. These are the Colombian tetras. Don't they look stunning as well? This tank needs feeding. Let's just give them some quick food. This tank requires every single type of food. It's got everything in there. It's got bristlenose plecos, it's got cories, it's got the tetra, so we just do everything. Yeah, so first of all, we just want to get a big clump off the flake. There's a lot of fish in here, so there will be a lot of food. When you've got a lot of fish, you need to feed more, don't you? So, I mean, I'm sure you guys understand that. Right, there's a good helping of the flake at the top. Whoa, they're just splashing everywhere. So I do the flake first, then I do the rest. I'll probably come back and do more flake, because this clears in no time. Right, then next up, we've got these sinking pellets. But to be honest, the bigger fish do have a nibble as well. Like the blue aquariums, they'll have a nibble at the pellets, so they get sort of a mix of absolutely everything. And I push it all over the tank, because some of the cories stay either side, you know, and they go around the back as well. Chuck some on the back there. And then last but not least, some wafers. I don't need to break them in here. We've got about 3 big bristlenose plecos, like adult size ones. Again, 1 in each corner and 1 at the back. Got some beautiful Bolivian rams here. Look at this Akara having a go at that algae wafer. All that food I've put in. Oh look, he's going for the pellets as well. That's cool. It can be quite hard to actually find the cories nowadays, just because of how sort of dense the undergrowth is. Oh, there's a couple in that tiny gap. I can't focus on them. Got the 2 rams here as well, golden ram and he's just standard German blue. Male and female, I think they are. Yeah, they are, because they gave me some eggs before. Recently we did also get eggs and wigglers, or free swimming babies actually, from the electric blue aquaria, but there are none now. Maybe some survived and went around the back area. They were in this corner at the back here, but yeah, we're not seeing any now, and that's no surprise with the amount of fish that's in this tank, is it really? Yeah, fantastic tank. Probably my favourite, this tank is. It's just very, very simple and easy. Triangular composition, tons of plants, colour, the lot. Just look at it. It's great, isn't it? If you're wondering about the lights, they're just some I made. The LED floodlights on brackets. I'll leave links to the LED floodlights in the description for you guys as well, so you can buy them. They're not for aquariums, they're for driveways, but you can make it work like I have. There we go. Look at that. One of the beautiful plecos has come out. Really nice colour. I love those spots on them. Just looks like a perfect specimen. That's a female, obviously, because there aren't any bristles on the nose. There are males in here as well, but they're kind of hiding at the moment. Oh, the cory did just come out to the front. They've got loads of panda cories in here. Panda cory spotted, upside down, flick himself around. And then also, there's an albino bristlenose pleco in there. Can you see, just moving around? I think that's a male. Go on out, buddy. It's a really good looking one as well. So this is my Nanofish heaven I done. It's basically a piece of wood, a ton of epiphytes on it, a nice big sword at the back, and then some stems at the side. Very simple design, but it works really well. These fish know that something's coming. So in here we've got glow light Danios. We've got a mix basically. This is kind of like a retirement tank that I did. For the tanks I was breaking down, I put them in here, and they all go really well together, all the fish. So I just thought, why not? We've got some guppies, we've got endlers, we've got sparkling gouramis. It's quite a good mix. We've got the pencilfish, the coral pencilfish as well. Oh, there's a male coral pencilfish down there. Look at those colours. Absolutely beautiful. We've got cories as well. You can just see the reflection one at the back there. A good size one, that as well. There's about 3 or 4 cories, I think, in here. So, yeah, again, bristlenose, cories, fish, standard practice, really. All the foods. Right, guys, I know you're keen and ready. Flake. Again, there's quite a few fish, so we make sure we put a good amount in for them. Sinking pellet. I don't know why I do these noises every time. I even do it when I'm not filming. And then there's actually just the 1 bristlenose, so I'll put 1 tab down there. He'll find it. Plant-wise though, we're doing really good. There's a little bit of algae on some of this trident fern here, but the buses and the Anubias are doing really well. Like, look at how fresh that Anubias is looking. And again, down, oh no, it's not Anubias, is it? Sorry, the Bucephalandra there looking. Anubias is looking good as well. Not as good, but then it was a bit damaged when I put it in, so I'm waiting for that to sort of regrow out. But that boost down there, oh, it's focusing on all the food. It looks like it's snowing food. That's quite a nice shot, isn't it? Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, pretty simple tank, but yeah, I do enjoy it. And up next to it here, we've got a racking system for shrimp in that tank, and that tank. And then this one's got some axle rod resporers in. I just removed a load of moths from the tank, so they're a little bit spooked, but you can sort of see them at the back. They're tiny little things. This is a no filter aquarium. There's no filtration at all, obviously, apart from the plants, which do all of it, and it's so good. Everyone always wonders why I don't have like a slick film on the top of my no filter tanks. I do sometimes initially, but once it gets settled and everything, this is quite old now. This is like 6 months old. It just sort of clears it all and it just goes perfect, just like that. This was my shrimp forest tank, which is now an overgrown forest. Basically, what it is up the top here, hang on. So these water lettuce go absolutely insane and just make this crazy bed. It's like a thick bed of all of this, all of these roots. They go straight down into substrate, but we've got a good collection of shrimp. And to be honest, all of these tanks are doing really well shrimp-wise. They just need clearing out a little bit. But at the moment, what I've been doing is just coming in, leaving everything as it is, and just dumping in some of the pellets or the algae wafers, depending. I like sort of alternate it. So today, what I'll do is put in some pellets in the tube. Some of them fell around it there, but I don't mind. I put some this side and then also in the tube. Things with the tube is that the shrimp tend to learn that stuff comes down the tube, and when they sense like that there's food in the water, they do go to this area. And this side I've got some carbon release in this one as well. And then obviously just the flake for the axle rods. There you go, I gave them the tap, they know there's some there. Oh, probably a little bit too much there. They're only tiny little fish. They don't need a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't usually put that much in. I'd probably crumble it a bit more, but I wasn't paying quite enough attention. But it won't hurt as a one-off. Give them a load of extra food. Gonna focus on them, there we go. Cute little fish they are. Really nice colours, look. And then next to that rack here, we have got my Ricefish pond. It's not very pretty at all, but it's quite realistic of the environment that they're from. And all they need is a bit of flake. Now I know this works quite well, what I've done here, because we've had breeding already. I've actually found some babies in this tank that I moved across into the other setup that you saw the ecosystem on with the Betta fish. So yeah, underneath the water it's really murky, lots of sort of waste has fallen in and it's degrading, sort of tinting the water as well. But it does give a really, really natural effect. And the pond plants look growing so tall now. They're only just about coming up to the light, or just underneath the light when I first put them in. So the system works. Like I say though, it's not the most pretty thing, but it was a good little experiment and I've enjoyed it so far. Moving along there, we've got just some tanks that are holding plants, but this is a very interesting tank actually, which is doing incredibly well. So this is my dwarf barb and lampai setup, but also we've got shrimp in there as well. The shrimp have been doing extremely well, even better than I expected. I've seen so many different babies dotted around, and even in this front area on the sand. Not right now because obviously the camera's here, but always the way, isn't it? Tiny, tiny little micro babies that haven't even got colour yet. So I know that they're breeding really well. The tank itself, very dense, and the fish do like to come in this front area. I mean, they do also know they're about to be fed. Like I say, whenever I sort of tap or come near the tank, like the fish know it's feeding time, so they're always going to be about, which is brilliant because you get to see them all, don't you? But yeah, the lampai really are beautiful. We've got a couple of ricefish as well in here. I can't remember the type, but they weren't a common one, that was for sure. But my absolute favourite, to be honest, are the dwarf barbs. So you can see they're little sort of bumblebees or something swimming around. They all group together nicely. It's just a really sort of more rarer fish. I mean, I don't see them too often. And then combined with another species like the lampai, it's just brilliant, isn't it? Love it. So this tank will get flake, and also, actually I'll mix it, I'll just do all of them, why not? I mean, we've got the shrimp in there, they can choose then what they want. Just a little bit, see, just a little sprinkle of the floating pellet, sinking pellet, and then one little algae wafer just to sit in that front area. Oh, straight away this shrimp's just come down to have a little look. I think he's got one of the pellets down there. There's quite a few, there's more than you think, look. That's the thing with shrimp, you think you've only got a few, you put some food in, before you know it, your front is just sort of covered in them. There was that other one up the top there still, isn't there? Yeah. And now we've got the lampais, look, just swarming around that top area, waiting for that food to fall. They're a bit shy, they don't sort of bite at it, they wait for it to be in the water column, rather than sort of attacking it. Like if it was tiger barbs in here now, that up the top, what I put there, would be demolished. Maybe I should just give them a little helping hand. Here we go, up, it's all falling, and now they're going for it, look, see? Isn't it strange how different fish have completely different behaviours? They obviously feel that being right at the surface is dangerous. I don't know why, but whatever. Yeah, great little mix of fish there, and a nice little tank. To be honest, it's fully mature. It is done, but I do enjoy it. It's one of those that I don't have to do anything to because there isn't a ton of stems. We've got a little collection of stems that side and that side, which is so easy just to snip off. Mostly Anubias, Bulbitis, and then some mosses that stay nice and short, to be honest. I've not had to do barely any sort of work to this tank at all since I set it up. And that is my kind of fish keeping. So then over on this side, which is next to the Amazon aquarium, we've got a little racking system. There's nothing in this tank. I just kind of use it to seed some sponges and things like that. There's an awesome piece of Ludwigia just casually growing out of it though. Which looks so good, doesn't it? And next to it, we've got something that has been an absolute massive success, and that is this here, the Shrimp Mountain. We've got really good sort of breeding rates going on. Like everywhere you look, you've got shrimp, which is awesome to see. But the thing that I like most about this is the carpeting. We've got Glossostigma, we've got Dwarf Hairgrass, we've got Monte Carlo in there. We've got a mix of sort of everything, and that's all low tech, let's face it. All I've got is that tiny little filter at the back there, which is barely pushing any water out anymore. And then we've got this cheap LED light that sort of goes across everywhere. But it's just beautiful. I love it. I think I'm going to try and simulate this again, maybe on a bigger scale. I think it'll look really cool. So simple to do as well, because when you do an irigumi, as long as you get some sort of diagonals going with your rocks, just plant the rest green and everything looks good. Like the rocks can stick in any way and they just look good, don't they? So we've got duckweed as a floating plant, and we've also got some water lettuce as well. I've literally just pulled out a ton of it because it was chock-a-block full before I started filming this video, but I thought, well, you can't really see inside the tank because it was quite, not dark, but just green, just from all of that duckweed. The whole surface was covered, you see, with all those roots coming down, which it turns out is pretty good for the water. It's also obviously very good for the shrimp as well because there's so many in here. Now feeding wise, I tend to again do both. So normally I do them alternate days, but for now let's just do a little bit of each. Into the feeding tube you go. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I mean, this is a lot of food here, and then just plonk the tablet down next to it somewhere. There we go. I wouldn't normally do that much, but as a one-off, as a treat for the shrimpies, it'll be absolutely fine. There's enough plants in here to combat any sort of, I don't know, like ammonia produced by waste food or whatnot. But what you can do is if it's still sitting there for a good while, you come back with a turkey basin, just suck out any bits that are just sat there. That's what I do sometimes if I see it there for like longer than a few hours or so. But I haven't fed these shrimp now for a few days, so they should be straight on that in a minute. And then above them, we have got this one, Hellboy's Blackwater tank, which is looking so fine now. Like all of this sag you can hear, the dwarf sag you can see, look how tall it's grown. That's because it's obviously so dark in the water because of the tannins. So we've got loads of really cool details. We've got different pieces of like, I don't even know what that is, like a seed pod, and then we've got leaves. Bucephalandra works really well in these nano setups, and then when you've got a vibrant punch of green from the dwarf sage, it just looks so good, doesn't it? And at the top we've got more water lettuce, we've got some salvinia as well. I just took out a load from the front because it had covered it all, but everything's going so well with it, and he's a happy little guy, isn't he? We'll turn this up so you can see. So he did have a fully red face, like the same brightness of red you can see on the bottom part of him, but over time, betta fish change colours as they grow, so he's lost that red face. It's kind of dark now, but he's still a cool fish, isn't he? And of course, he has just a nice little bit of flake at the top there. Remember, don't overfeed your betta fish. They don't need a lot. He's looking at me. It's there. It's right there, mate. Sometimes my betta fish can be a little bit fussy of eating when I'm stood here, so that's what we're seeing now. He's working it out. You gonna eat that, Dan? There you go. Good boy. Munch, munch, munch. Yum, yum, yum. Must say, this is much more realistic of the sort of setup that these guys would be in, and it's probably the one that I've seen the best behaviour and colouring and everything from a betta fish, to be honest. So yeah, there's one for you. I think I'd like to do it a little bit bigger next time, just so we can put in some other fish with them. Now I know I can put nano fish in with my bettas. I'd be wanting to go a little bit bigger, to be honest. And last but not least, next to that tank, we have got what used to be the shrimp bubbles, but is now the shrimp pearlweed thing. This is why I no longer put pearlweed in small tanks. It takes over far too quickly. Look at that top there, though. Look at that. That's all growing immersed, like proper plants. Wow. This will just get some pellets. I normally put just flicker the pellets in there. We've got orange Rilly shrimp in here, so yeah, they're actually breeding as well. So this is not the fastest community. To be honest, I can't really see, can I, if I'm honest? I need to redo this one for sure. So that is the end of the video, guys. If you have enjoyed it, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Really will help me out, and I will see you on the next one.